The artists the rest of the world will be talking about in months are on SiriusXM's Next Wave concert series. Now, hear exclusive performances from the top rising stars in rock, R&B, hip-hop, and more. Tap into Who's Next, the Next Wave Concert Series Volume 7, now in the all-new SiriusXM app. Just search Next Wave.
Don't waste valuable time managing playlists, downloading, or sifting through commercials when you could be zoning out, rocking out, or just kicking back to the music you love. Visit SiriusXM.com/go to quickly sign up online and activate your radio. SiriusXM offers commercial-free music from nearly every genre at the touch of a button. Select your favorite channels, set your presets, and let SiriusXM's music experts handle the rest. Subscribe now and activate your radio. Visit SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now.
With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
To exclusive talk, comedy, and entertainment on SiriusXM. Be part of the buzzworthy moments with Andy Cohen.
Kelly Clarkson, I do want to do a duet with you.
No nonsense advice with Dr. Laura.
Is this advice that he asked you for? No. Then shut the hell up.
Unparalleled wit and A-list interviews with Conan O'Brien.
Billie Eilish.
How loud can you shout?
You haven't even heard it.
That's why I'm asking.
Don't miss an exclusive moment on SiriusXM.
On SiriusXM.
With the first pick.
NFL Radio is live in Detroit as Rick Neuheisel, Jason Horowitz, Jim Miller, and Pat Kerwin provide instant analysis.
He makes all the throws. You will be defending the whole field.
As well as exclusive interviews with coaches, executives, and players.
I want to be the best quarterback. Legends live on. I want to be a legend.
NFL draft coverage continues tonight at 7 Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 of the all-new SiriusXM app.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018148868.
Grando Deportes, Bonjour, Vedi Vedi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! 3 o'clock in the morning, you fool! Yeah, well, who's the fool? The guy elected to be the neighborhood spokesperson? Or the person who's being awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning? I want to say it's on a beautiful April 26th. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord split you, as well as driving the fleet of Cadillac cars all over the universe. You You can follow Big C Sports Podcast. I'm telling you, 29 podcast platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. I want to say we have some NFL football. The draft happened yesterday. Now they're doing day 2 of the NFL draft today. Of course, Caleb Williams from USC, he went number 1, so a lot of people were not surprised by that. But there's a lot of other players that are making their dreams come true in the NFL draft being held in Detroit, Michigan. So no matter what you think about NFL football, NBA basketball was also in Los Angeles last night. LeBron James for 3, yes, in your life, get in the hole. But it looks like the Denver Nuggets have put the Lakers in a 3-0 hole. And I don't think a team has ever come back and won a series where they're down 3-0 in this series. It looks like the Lakers may get swept. I think if you look at Denver, they just have younger legs, fresher legs. That's just the way it goes. Also, Philadelphia, they got back in the saddle to get that win over the New York Knicks. And you know, right now, you got to look at Boston and Miami. Now they're going Game 3 in Miami, and I don't think Miami's afraid at all of Boston. Not that you would expect any team to be afraid of another team. They all are grown men, and they all get paid. But something people were thinking that Miami was going to get swept by the Boston Celtics. A lot of people think the Lakers would get swept by the Denver Nuggets, and I'm, for one, I feel bad for the Lakers. I thought they were going to win last night. This is the 3rd time in 3 games the Lakers have blown a double-digit lead. They had a 12-point lead at one time last night, also Game 1, and 20-point lead in Game 2. And those younger legs just kept coming back, and they have Denver's the defending NBA champion. So the people saying, oh, we need to bench D'Angelo Russell. Oh, Anthony Davis is not doing enough. Oh, LeBron James can be more like Michael Jordan. Oh, it's Coach Ham's fault. You got the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and they have a cast of players that just fit in. So you can't say that the Lakers are being outcoached. You can't blame a certain player. They're playing the defending NBA champions. Look at that. You got to look at the numbers, and that, to me, that's what makes sense to me. That's why Denver's about to sweep this series. I want to say, I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more throat lozenges in our lives, because my voice is a little bit raspy like Doc Rivers. And these allergies in California, something else with these allergies. And then I'm telling you, the sound effects are done, the commercials are done, the stats are provided, the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Jamal Murray for 3, yes, in your life, get in the hole. Those good old boys at Denver, they're not afraid of Los Angeles, obviously. They're just a better team. That's my story. I'm taking with it. At the same time, the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and then streaming on 4 TV platforms out of New York City. I never missed the show since doing Big C Sports with the crew back in the day at Salem Media. And everybody has their own thoughts about shows and practice and games. May like this strike. Well, me like that strike all the time. I also champion reparations. I'm just so grateful this time of year. I know with the NFL draft, it's taken over this week, really. NBA basketball, I mean, that's obviously exciting with the playoffs. NHL hockey, not many people paying attention to hockey unless you really like walking around on ice. And then Major League Baseball, the pitch, curveball, struggle, shitty, right field, back to the wall, home run. Well, right now, that's taking a back seat to the NFL draft and NBA basketball. So that's just what I feel, in my opinion, based on what I hear with other people who love sports. But also, what will never take a back seat is a PSA that I love doing on Big C Sports podcast called the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know, anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255, 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. If you're online, you simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And with the Veterans Crisis Hotline, they do a good job of making sure that our veterans get the help that they surely need. That's my story that I'm taking with it. Also want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be light. I love talking about that too. And I'm going to always champion reparations. I feel like for the first time since 1865, another Freedmen's Bureau has been created in California by the California Senate. Just passed this week on the 23rd of April in 2024. Senator Bradford's amazing. I think when you talk about either lead, follow, or get out of the way, he didn't march, he didn't dance, he didn't shuck and jive, but he knows the pen is mightier than the sword. And I hope every other black American and white Americans too, because I want to say this is so important to me. People sometimes say, oh, reparations are so divisive. It's so divisive, Big C. Well, you know what was divisive? Slavery was divisive. Slavery was divisive. If that makes sense to you, if reparations is divisive and doing the right thing to repair harm was divisive, then what do you think of slavery? Was that divisive? The Middle Passage that brought people from the African continent and landed in the United States 1619 and continued until 1865 with the lynching, the murdering, the killing, the shooting, the castrating, the selling of families, men, women, and children. Was that divisive? Was that divisive? Because if it was so divisive to people who say it's divisive now, why did it last so long? Not only that, 100 years of Jim Crow after that. Not only that, the United States of America never paid reparations for that. Oh, that's not true, Big C. Yeah, that's true. Reparations were paid to the owners of slaves. Yeah, you can Google it. Reparations were paid to the owners of slaves after the Emancipation Proclamation because then it said white people had to work. They didn't get the free labor, but you believe they got reparations. But when it comes to paying reparations to the descendants of the child of slavery, they never got anything. Slaves worked from cradle to grave, being lynched, beaten, murdered, raped, sold off from plantation owner to plantation owner, and it was all sanctioned by the United States of America for the land of the free and the home of the brave. That land. But then you'll have some people that say, oh, it's divisive. It's divisive, Big C, because people don't want to have to pay. What do you mean? The government held slaves, not your next door neighbor. So this argument that people have, well, I never owned slaves. You have Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell with all of his TIAs and many stroke issues. Whenever he gets a TIA where he can't function, they always call for medical help. They never tell Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to pull himself up by his own bootstrap. You should have been eating healthier a long time ago. They never make him pull himself up by his own bootstrap. They call to get him the help. Why is it such anathema when this issue of slavery? I mean, who's opposing slavery? If you're part of the Ku Klux Klan, I would expect that. Because some of them wear suits and ties also. We shouldn't have to pay reparations for something my great-granddaddy did 150 years ago. We stole that money fair and square. And I'll not tolerate giving any reparations. I'll not tolerate it. And that's what they should say to him the next time he has a mini stroke or a TIA. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. But they'll take his sorry butt to get some medical care. But when you have descendants of child of slavery that built this country for free, when they got sick, they couldn't call the doctor. When they were set fire, they couldn't call the police department or the fire department or the medical transportation companies. They did it with impunity. Oh, it's defensive to have to pay back. The country still benefited from slavery, still enriched by it. And I'm gonna tell you something that I love talking about on Big C Sports Podcast, because I don't want to be just touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh man, Willie, he's going all the way. I'm gonna get into the NFL draft too, but I want to do something because I always honor the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a trouble thing to waste. I'm so emboldened by it. In fact, I'm so emboldened by it. I got something I want to play with you. I want to play so you can hear it before I even get into thanking the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a trouble thing to waste. And you got to understand it. It's so important. You can't say you don't understand it. Listen to this from the grill.
With Mark Lamont Hill, the intensifying debate over the idea of reparations has been gaining momentum in recent years. Supporters of reparations argue that African Americans are still suffering from the legacy of slavery, economic disparity, systemic racism, the lack of access to resources. These are all issues that demonstrate the need for reparations. There are some opponents, on the other hand, who contend that it is unfair to impose financial responsibility onto current generations. Others fear that the creation of reparations could set a precedent where other groups could make similar demands. No matter where you land, there's one thing certain: the debate over reparations will likely remain a contentious topic for years to come. Joining me now to discuss this issue is somebody who's an expert on it, and she is the co-founder of the American Descendants of Slavery movement, and she is the founder and president of the ADOS Advocacy Foundation. Her name is Yvette Carnell. Yvette, welcome to the show. I want to be clear, though, before we even begin. I want to stipulate something. You know, I don't have guests on my show who advocate that climate change isn't real. I don't have guests on my show who argue that spanking is okay. There are certain arguments I'm just not willing to engage on my platform. I'm not saying I've never done it, but I'm unwilling to do it. So when I talk about reparations, I want to be very clear to the audience that while there is a debate over reparations, many of the people opposing reparations are people who fundamentally are against the interests of black folk, and that's not what this show is about. And so I want to stipulate quite here that reparations is not a debate for me. We can have conversations about what kind of reparations, what they look like, for whom these reparations are. We can have all those conversations about the details of reparations, but the idea that black folk don't deserve reparations is something I'm unwilling to entertain on this platform. I just want to be clear out there when we talk about the quote-unquote reparations debate. So let me start there and then say to you, Yvette, again, welcome to the show, and help my audience understand what is the case for reparations.
Well, the case for reparations is that the economy still has the wealth from slavery in this economy. The poverty is still here. And there's one specific group that is American descendants of slavery who carry that poverty still. You know, people have always made the case that, well, that's over with, that's in the past. And what we find is that whether you talk about our wealth position, whether you talk about our outcomes in terms of health, whether you talk about mass incarceration, I can draw a line to all of those outcomes to slavery. So, you know, there is no way to have a conversation, given all that we know now, where we don't say, listen, slavery, the institution of slavery still impacts us. It still tethers one group of people to the bottom. And the only way we make up for that plunder is to repay it. And this is what America must do. So that is the position that we have.
You made a point to say American descendants of slavery. That is a very specific group you're talking about. People hear reparations, they hear all black folk. They think about phenotype. They think about who's black to the police. They think about who's black when they get discriminated on at the job. All very real things. But you have a very specific group of people for whom you're advocating reparations. Explain to me what you mean when you say American descendants of slavery, and why you think they should be the exclusive, if I'm understanding you correctly, why you think they should be the exclusive recipients of this particular reparations project.
Well, I think one thing that happens a lot is people confuse discrimination with the all of the disadvantages that come from being a descendant of slavery, right? Meaning you had an enslaved ancestor in America. We acknowledge, ADOS acknowledges that there is discrimination that people are impacted from, right? So when you say Obama couldn't catch a cab, maybe he couldn't. So he was impacted by that. And so you have to have a package. You have to have a package of policies that deal with discrimination. And at the foundation, we have that. We have a Black agenda that deals with discrimination. That is not the same thing as a specific justice claim, which means that multi-generationally, going back to slavery, you, your people, your family have had not only the disadvantage of slavery, but that accrued disadvantage of poverty, of Jim Crow, Reconstruction, all of that takes you all the way from the beginning of the reparations movement at the end of the Civil War till today. So I think you have to kind of break that apart. That doesn't mean that other Black people are enemies or that their discrimination against them doesn't exist. It just means that policy prescriptions are the solution for that. But we have a wealth disparity that needs to be repaid that can't be made up for with income. And so that's what we're saying when we kind of draw that line.
Now, that line then would cut out someone from Jamaica, someone from Haiti, someone from Puerto Rico who's Afro-Latino. And the reason I'm pointing those places out, obviously, is because they also were deeply connected to the slave trades. And so if someone is a third-generation American here, but if you go beyond that, their parents are from the Caribbean, but they also were somehow connected to slavery, why do we want to disconnect that claim from this claim? Because that's what a lot of people, particularly Caribbean Americans I talk to, raise as an issue.
Well, we support their movements, though, right? They have a reparations movement. They have CARICOM. So I support their reparations movements. They have their own movements where they are trying to get reparations from the people who deprived them, from the countries, specific countries that deprived them. And I support that. You know, I support Haiti getting reparations from the French and so on and so forth. But those are separate and distinct justice claims. Those are separate and distinct movements. Now, I do believe that we can be in cooperation with other movements because we're all asking for something from these countries that plundered us, right? So there is a space for us to collaborate. But our justice claim as American descendants of slavery is specifically against America, whereas other people have a specific kind of justice claim against a different country. And we can support each other, but we have to be very serious in terms of how our justice claims are distinct from one another.
The real strike. I love having the idea that people can talk about reparations and talk about things that are not just United States only. Like all around the world, people can have solutions for what happened to their problems or what caused their problems. So for Big C Sports Podcast, I want to make sure that I do my part and making sure that I'm not just forgetting about other people. I want to make sure I bring other people into it as well.
Yeah, reparations. We just can't afford it. It's too costly. I hear politicians say that. I also hear handkerchief head Negroes say that. Talk to me about what it means to say we don't have the money for it.
People always bring up budgetary constraints when it's time to do something for us. So when it's time to do something specifically for ADOS, all of a sudden, or Black people in general, all of a sudden we have budgetary constraints. When we talk about wars, we don't have budgetary constraints. When we talk about the defense budget, we don't have budgetary constraints. When we talk about imperialism and making the bubble bounce in other countries, we do not have any kind of constraints. The budget doesn't matter. We're perfectly fine with the Iraq war or whatever the case may be of busting it wide open. We're perfectly fine with sending tax cuts all the way to the top so that some people have and some people have not. That is by design. And so when it comes to us, we are the ones where people say, you know what, we don't have money for you. We have money for other reparations in this country, and people say we just don't have it for ADOS. And that's just a dodge. It's an evasion. And we're a little long in the tooth for that evasion. It's time to pay up.
How much would reparations amount to?
We're talking at least $20 trillion as a down payment, because I'm a person who doesn't believe everything happens in one generation. Look, this oppression didn't all happen in one generation. I don't think this reparations movement ends with me or you or anyone else. I think it's an ongoing process. But $20 trillion is the down payment number that we start with. It's not the end, though.
Is that amount direct cash payments? Are we talking about subsidies? Are we talking about discounts? You know, a lot of times people will hear reparation and they have a different idea of what that reparation payment looks like.
Reparations is wealth. wealth was plundered. Like what we have now is that all of the money is calcified at the top. We don't have the wealth to live in America.
Yvette, you know what? Hold on, Yvette. I apologize. I'm out of time on this break, and this is an important answer. So I want you to hang tight. We'll continue that conversation right after the break.
So more and more, you're going to hear thoughts on reparations. Before I get into sports, I think that talking reparations is a lot more important than who won a game. Here's Dr. King.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them, murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
Yeah, that is right. I love talking about reparations. Reparations now, reparations forever. I love reparations, but I'm also trying a new commercial. Listen up.
I ain't finished yet.
LeBron James in the corner. LeBron James for 3. Get the hole. Yes. And the Lakers have taken the lead. Anthony Davis for 3. Get the hole. Yes. And the Lakers have taken the lead. Jamal Bryant for 3. Get the hole. Yes. And Denver has come again. 1 left of time in this game. 22 seconds left. And the Lakers bringing the ball up the court. LeBron James has the ball, words on him, passes over to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis shoots over the zone to get the hole. Yes! And the Lakers have taken a 4-point lead with 3 seconds left. And the Lakers are 1 game away from losing down 2 games to 1 as opposed to 0 games to 3. And the Lakers win. The Lakers win. And that is what a lot of our media are doing when they want to look at NBA basketball, Major League Baseball, and NFL football. And we put so much emphasis on the sports world. And I don't mind that because I too, like a lot of people, I love the sports business. But I'm just saying, if we could put that same type of energy It's touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. Imagine if we could do that too. At the same way that we cheer for athletes in entertainment, imagine if we could do the same thing for reparations. That's what I love saying about Big C Sports Podcast, and that's one thing that I love doing. And I want to keep doing that with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. So in the meantime, I was just thinking about some things I got to do for a commercial for Big C Sports Podcast, but I'm gonna pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force first, because I say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And as we, as descendants of child of slavery, if we don't do it, then who will? So I'm trying to incorporate other thoughts on Big C Sports Podcast, not just my own, and I'm very proud about that. I want to give praise to the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank the chair, Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Amos C. Brown, the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Council Member Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Attorney Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Give him praise. But I also say I want to thank Double O, part of the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She sent me an article called Executive Order 13985. It was President Biden's first term in office. It's for equity and stimulation for communities of color. And then she also sent me this article from the United Nations that says strong political will and support are important for reparations. She has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can hear it on Access Sacramento. Really do appreciate her. And then I also want to give praise to Brother Aleem Shabazz. He actually filmed the final reparations task force meeting at the Secretary of State building in Sacramento, California. He owns Crescent Sports Media. I'm going to give praise to Reverend Tony Pierce, President and CEO of National Black Wall Street Project. Really do appreciate that. So many people, they have their own thoughts on what we can do as a society on getting forward the message that reparations are important. Big C, I thought you were going to let me hear who won the game. And that's part of the problem. We're so stuck on who won the game. Big C, tell me who won the game. And that's how they keep us asleep. They keep us asleep and drunk on sports. All of the NFL draft, and I'll cover some of that too. Not one of the owners were ever descendants of child of slavery. Not one. But we sit there and we champion for it. And I love sports too. But at the same time, most of those black athletes that get drafted, they can trace their family legacy to descendants of child of slavery. And more people are talking about now with the reparations movement. I didn't hear one person talk about it at the NFL draft, where every owner, they either descended from owners of slavery, for the most part, or the Homestead Act, where you had to be white, but the country gave you over 300 million acres of land. And then when it comes to black Americans, people say, oh, that's divisive to talk about reparations. It's not divisive to talk about anything that's wrong, because we gotta fix it. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I also got a commercial I want to do, and I hope you like it. Unlike a lot of people, I don't do my commercials in a studio where no one's there but me and 20 other people. I don't have 29 takes. If I make a mistake, you hear it. If I don't make a mistake, you hear that too. So I have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. You know, the slaves couldn't do this. Resource Development Consultant, Incorporated, in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and the law office of Attorney George Jones, the Missing Link, Long-Term Care Solutions by the Book, helping seniors get their benefits. If that makes sense to you, Medicare and you taking care of tomorrow in California is called Medi-Cal. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs and find out your options. You know, the slaves had no options. I promise to you, specialized to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spin down. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescriptions, medical equipment costs, and more, protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate. It can be up to 20 to 40% in a one-time processing fee versus a monthly insurance premium for the rest of your life. Give that some praise. I said give it praise, praise, praise. But not only that, protection insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning and avoid the look-back period, fixed assets, bank account, checking account, savings account, money market account, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed index annuities, variable assets, real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, other investments, avoid capital gains. You buy a house for $100,000. In 1 year, it appreciates to $1 million, according to some brokers. You don't have the capital gains when you have a trust on your property. Business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. Oh, Big C, my insurance covers everything. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, and give that some praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. Big C, you always say, get a second opinion. Well, I'm going to give you the second opinion. If you wonder why you should work with the RDC team or any other company, ask them who endorses what they do. With the RDC team, you get the endorsement of Attorney George Jones, Attorney Scott Thibodeau. Also, George Jones, he's the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce. He's the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consulting, works with many of the top lobbyists in California. Miss Cheryl Brown, she's the chair on the California Commission on Aging. Mr. Ray De La Cruz, he's the president and CEO of Resource Development Consulting, had the endorsement of the CalPERS chief attorney, the late Robert Carlson. He endorsed the RDC team. Mr. Alex De La Cruz, founder of American Veteran Benefits for the RDC team. He endorses the RDC team. And then you have Big C, Business Development Consultant, and also co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project, Northern California chapter. You got to give that some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. I love what I do with Big C Sports Podcast, but it's not just me. I want to make sure that I also let you hear thoughts of what's going on around the world and around the country when it comes to not just reparations, but also sports. But it all ties hand in hand. And I love doing that because for many African Americans, we stand in line to hear the NFL draft, and not one team is owned by African American. Not one. Not one. And don't you know that all traces back to slavery too? You got to know how it happened. We can't just be sycophants to somebody saying, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. So I love doing that. I love adding that with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. I got to tell you, last night in NBA basketball, you had the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were knocked out by the Orlando Magic, 121-83. What a game it was by the Orlando Magic. And now you have that series 2-1, Cleveland leads. You had the New York Knicks. They got beat by Philadelphia 125-114. And now New York leads that series 2-1. In Los Angeles, in your life, LeBron James 4-3, yes! Anthony Davis 4-3, yes! Get in the hole! Nikola Jokic 4-3, yes! Get in the hole in your life! Man, Denver has LA on the ropes. I even did a commercial for the LA Lakers, and that didn't help. They got them on the ropes, guys. And you know what's also on the ropes? The people who think that we don't need reparations. Because there's many more people now, smart people, you know, you people, that are saying, let's do the right thing. It's always time to do the right thing. Got some NBA basketball tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks, they are on the road taking on the Indiana Pacers. And that series right now is tied at 1 apiece going into it. Upcoming tonight, already underway, you have the Los Angeles Clippers. They're in Dallas taking on the Dallas Mavericks. And you have that series right now is tied at 1 apiece. And then the big game tonight, you have the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are in Phoenix taking on the Phoenix Suns. Then the Timberwolves, they already lead that series 2-0. So I feel that game, the Lakers and the Suns, they may get swept. I think the Lakers will get swept. And I know people want to say, well, we need to make a change. Sometimes you just play a better team. Sometimes you just play someone who's a lot better than you are, and you win. Or you lose. It's the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And I love NBA basketball, but can you believe that in California, we started the playoff and the play-in, Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors. The Kings knocked out the Warriors, so they were able to light the beam. And now we have the Lakers about to be swept by the Denver Nuggets. And then all you have left is the Los Angeles Clippers. Can you imagine? What happens when that happens? And that to me is pretty devastating for California's market. And I just would have thought, in my opinion, that you would have had at least the Lakers maybe get 2 wins in that series. I don't think it's going to happen. And it's a shame Denver's beaten the Lakers 11 games in a row. LeBron James, 4-3, yes! Get the hole in your life! Anthony Davis, 4-3, yes! Get the hole in your life! Jamal Murray, 4-3, yes! Get the hole in your life! And we're so crazy about sports. Nothing wrong with it. I love it too. I'm not saying that we should not love the game the way I do. I love both. But for African Americans, it kind of saddens me at times when we will go stand in line for the tip-off and stand in line for the kickoff. But when it comes to us, as a people, the biggest line we should stand in is the one for reparations now, reparations forever. Because we have Senate Bill 1403, it passed the California legislature. You think anybody talks about it outside of Big C Sports? No, they don't. And to me, that's kind of hurtful. It's kind of hurtful because we have something that's so important to our people, and many people don't even hear about it. Midnight strike in your life, LeBron James, 4-3, yes, get in the hole. I'm telling you, everybody got to know. Everybody, in my best English, we all have a chance right now to support California Senator Stephen Bradford and the California Reparations Task Force, because they're trying to make sure that we all win. When reparations happens, it will stimulate the economy. But so many times, our people are the last ones that show up. And we can't blame somebody else for us not showing up and supporting the people who are doing it. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say for the NFL draft, the number 1 NFL draft pick, the first-round draft pick by the Chicago Bears via a trade with Carolina is Caleb Williams, a quarterback out of USC, 6'1", 214 pounds. I think he's a new Patrick Mahomes. He's a lot like Patrick Mahomes in his traits and his instincts, his mobility, his arm talent to break down a defense, even when it does everything right. The only question about the 2022 Heisman Trophy winner, and that's just my opinion, can he win with the Bears? The Bears are who we thought they are. You want to credit them, credit them. The Bears got to fix the offensive line. Justin Fields was a similar style to Caleb Williams, and they couldn't protect him. He had to run the ball a lot. So I just hope that they're going to keep the man safe. That's my opinion. Number 2 in the NFL draft, the Washington Commanders, they take Jalen Daniels, a quarterback, 6'3", 210 pounds, out of LSU. And he had played at Arizona State, and now he's doing his thing in the NFL. I think he's going to be a star player for the Washington Commanders. Scouting reports, he's accurate deep ball threat, and he's an explosive runner. He's a lot like, to me, Colin Kaepernick back in the day. He has a slender frame, 2023 Heisman Trophy winner. He scrambles to run, and not necessarily to create opportunities to pass. I think he's going to do great for Washington if they can keep him off his backside. I got number 3 in the NFL football draft. First round, New England Patriots take Drake May, quarterback, 6'4", 223 pounds, out of North Carolina. And the scouting report for him, he has good size, he has good arm strength, athleticism are ideal. He can make a variety of throws with accuracy, but he also can be erratic at times and reckless with the ball. He's not the new Tom Brady, but they want to sell it that way. All's fair in love and war. This is the second time in 4 years that the Patriots have drafted a quarterback first round. They took Mac Jones a couple of years ago out of Alabama, and it didn't work out too well for them. Number 4 pick, the Arizona Cardinals with Marvin Harrison Jr., a wide receiver at 6'3", 210 pounds, out of the Ohio State Buckeyes. And the scouting report for Marvin Harrison Sr., precise route runner with superb body control. He's strong and explosive. He's not elusive after the catch, and blocking could be more consistent. But he played at Ohio State where he didn't have to be an expert at everything. They were always dominating teams. But he's going to be great in the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals. The number 5 pick, the Los Angeles Chargers. They took Joe Alt, offensive tackle, 6'8", 321 pounds, out of Notre Dame. The scouting report, he's technically sound. He's huge and strong, has a big upside. Not an exceptional athlete, but the 3-year starter at Notre Dame. The worst case scenario seems to be a solid NFL starter. I think he's going to do fine. Watch Trent Williams for the 49ers, and he's one of the best to ever play the game. And I think he's someone you can watch and see if he's doing the right thing. I want to say the number 6 pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants. They pick Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver at 6'2", 200 pounds, out of LSU. The scouting report, he's smooth, a deep threat downfield, a breakaway acceleration. He was LSU's career leader in receiving yards and receptions and will be challenged to play with more power at the next level. I think they're going to put a little bit more meat on his bones, but he played down in the SEC where he saw some great defenses. I think he's going to do fine making the transition in the NFL. Number 7 pick, the Tennessee Titans. They took J.C. Latham, offensive tackle, 6'5", 342 pounds, out of Alabama. In the scouting report, massive and dominant run blocking right tackle. Lightning strike! That good boy. I'm telling you, they have some great players coming out of the SEC. A massive and dominant run blocking right tackle. At times has struggled to recognize the blitz and cover, but I think he's going to do fine with a couple of years of getting into the system of the NFL. Now, number 8 in the NFL pick, the Atlanta Falcons. They pick Michael Penix Jr., quarterback, 6'2", 216 pounds, out of the University of Washington. I thought he could have and should have won the Heisman Trophy, just my opinion. Scouting report, prolific left-handed passer with accuracy and arm strength to attack the whole field. His injury history, knee and shoulder issues, age 24, and questions about his ability to deliver consistently when being pressured made him a polarizing prospect. Also, Kirk Cousins just signed a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Atlanta Falcons. Now at Minnesota, Kirk Cousins he had an injury, a lower extremity injury, Achilles injury, a lot like touchdown Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets. So I think they overpaid for, in just my opinion, Kirk Cousins only has one career playoff win. How's he going to take the Falcons to the Super Bowl? I don't see that at all. But I do think Michael Penix Jr. is a good, solid pick for the Atlanta Falcons. That's my straight-up ticket with it. And they both have had some injuries over the years. Number 9 pick, the Chicago Bears. They pick Rome Odunze, wide receiver, 6'2", 212 pounds, out of the University of Washington. Michael Penix Jr. was always throwing the ball to him. The scouting report, exceptional ball skills, reliable hands, not quite as explosive as Harrison and Neighbors, but Penix, his top target, was probably more consistent, and I think it's going to fit in well in the NFL. I got number 10 in Big C's NFL draft. The Minnesota Vikings, via a trade with the New York Jets. They took J.J. McCarthy, quarterback, at 6'2", 219 pounds. He was 27-1 in his career starts. The only loss was to Georgia in last year, or the year before last, playoff game. And outside of that, he went undefeated twice in the Big Ten, which is pretty solid to do. But Michigan had a dominating defense, even though the quarterbacks are going to get a lot of praise. Give him praise, praise, praise. But Michigan's defense is amazing. And that's why I think he went 27-1. But the scouting report, a difficult prospect to evaluate. He has all the physical tools, plus he scores well on the intangibles, such as leadership and maturity. But Michigan's run-heavy scheme did not ask much of him to do. And I think maybe he might be a slight disappointment because Michigan was a run-heavy team and their defense was solid, and that's why it was easy for him to look good. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it. Number 11, the New York Jets via the trade with Minnesota. You have Olu Fonasau. It's also the tackle, 6'6", 312 pounds, out of Penn State. Scouting report. He checks all the boxes for size, athleticism, and character. Was not as consistently dominant as people suggested he should have been and could have been playing at Penn State. But in the Big Ten, you got a lot of grown men playing on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be fine. But he also has to just get better and get used to playing at that next level in the NFL. Number 12, the Denver Broncos. They took Bo Nix, quarterback, 6'2", 215 pounds, out of the University of Oregon Ducks. He transferred to Oregon from Auburn, and he saw that Oregon had a much better passing scheme than Auburn, and he had success at Oregon and more than he had at Auburn. One of the most experienced quarterbacks to ever come out of college, with a record 61 career starts. 24-year-old Auburn transfer, has good mobility and solid arm strength, but he does miss some makeable downfield throws. He's already peaked, a lot of people feel. I think it's going to be fine when he gets into that system with the Denver Broncos. I got number 13. When you think about it, may like to strike. Number 13, and when you think about the Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders have a hard time keeping people in the pocket. Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously, Derek Carr, I thought they should have kept Derek Carr a lot longer than they did. Garoppolo came in there and obviously got suspended for putting some things in his body that he's not supposed to have, allegedly. But Denver, Bo Nix, I think he'll be great for them, and he'll be playing against the Las Vegas Raiders' Brock Bowers, a tight end from Georgia, 6'3", 240 pounds. He played at Napa High School, and he's an elite athlete. A lot of people consider him like a Travis Kelce for the Chiefs, and with excellent hands and the speed and toughness to turn routine plays into huge games after the catch. A lot like Tony Gonzalez did back in the day for Atlanta and also Kansas City. In today's NFL, he's a bit undersized. We'll have to put on some more muscle, which could limit him in how he's used as a blocker. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I want to touch on also number 14 pick, New Orleans Saints, Talise Fuqua, offensive tackle, 6'5", 324 pounds, out of Oregon State for the Beavers. A powerful run blocker who plays with excellent balance. And there's some concern his average athleticism and wingspan could push him to guard. But we'll see what happens in the NFL. They'll put some more muscle on him. Indianapolis Colts, they picked number 15 pick, Latil at defensive end, 6'4", 260 pounds, out of UCLA. Now, the scouting report on him is he's skilled technically. He's a proficient pass rusher with good size. He doesn't have that elite power that they want, but he is a whole package. Had a neck injury that forced him to medically retire in 2020 at Washington, but he transferred to UCLA and became a starter. So I think he's going to do fine. Just has to get that muscle built up around the neck, if that makes sense to you. Got the number 16 pick, the Seattle Seahawks, Byron Murphy. I'm telling you, his defensive tackle, 6 feet, 297 pounds. Not as big as you'd like to see for a defensive tackle, but scouting report, he plays low and explosive and often ends up in the backfield, but needs to finish more on plays when he gets in there. So we'll see what happens with him as he develops. Number 17 pick, the Minnesota Vikings, via a trade from Jacksonville. They got Dallas Turner, outside linebacker, 6'2", 247 pounds, out of Alabama. The scouting report, he's long and twitchy, an athlete who has a great burst off the edge. His frame is long. At the same time, he has to put on more bulk, and they'll do that in the NFL. I got to get number 18 pick, the Cincinnati Bengals, Amarius Mims, offensive tackle. He's 6'7", 340 pounds, out of Georgia. If an NFL offensive tackle could be designed in a lab, and that player would have been Mims. His combination of size and athleticism, hasn't just played a lot of ball compared to other tackles with just 8 career starts, but he's someone you can work on, and they'll do that at the NFL level. Number 19 pick, the Los Angeles Rams, Jared Verse, defensive end, 6'3", 254, out of Florida State. The scouting report on him, a nonstop in the pass rush and run pursuit, but could use refined skills in his techniques and tackling after his starting career at University of Albany in New York. Number 20 pick, for the NFL Draft. First round, Pittsburgh Steelers, Troy Fautanu, offensive tackle, 6'4", 317 pounds, out of the University of Washington. Maybe the most athletic of the tackles and plays with an edge. Less than ideal length. Could push him off the left tackle into the inside. Number 21, Miami Dolphins, Chop Robinson, defensive end at 6'2", 255 pounds, out of Penn State. He has great quickness off the line and can be very disruptive. He ran a 4.48 40-second yard dash. 4.48 is pretty solid for a defensive end at that size, 6'2", 254 pounds. Number 22, Philadelphia Eagles, Quinion Mitchell, cornerback, 6 feet, 195, out of Toledo. The best size, strength, and speed combo among quarterbacks class. He should be great. He didn't get tested as much in the MAC. Number 23 pick, Jacksonville Jaguars via a trade with Minnesota through Cleveland from Houston. Brian Thomas, wide receiver, 6'2", 210 pounds from LSU. Has top end speed. He's elite with a bigger frame than his teammate neighbors. I think he's going to do great. He led 17 touchdown catches. That led the nation last year. Number 24 pick, Detroit Lions via a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. They had Torian Arnold, a quarterback, 5'11", 189 pounds, out of Alabama. He's sound and aggressive, a great cover. He has a 4.5 40-yard dash time at the combine. Number 25 pick, Green Bay Packers, Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle, 6'5", 311 pounds from Arizona. He's athletic, strong, and a run blocker who recovered from a torn ACL in 2022. Number 26 pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Graham Barton, offensive tackle, 6'5", 315 pounds, out of Duke. He controls opponents with strong, quick hands, but seems most likely to be among the top tackle prospect and to move on the inside. Number 27 pick, Arizona Cardinals, from Houston, Darius Robinson, defensive end, 6'5", 285 pounds, from Missouri, a powerful player who is stout against the run but might be a project in the NFL. Number 28, Kansas City Chiefs via a trade with Buffalo, Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, 5'11", 170 pounds, out of Texas. He's blazing fast, may lightning strike. I hear that's how fast he runs. They say he's blazing fast, may lightning strike. And that's what I think about all those great players that come out of the college football. They'll have to step up their game in the NFL. Scouting report, he's blazing fast. 4.21 seconds. As I said, may lightning strike. 4.21 is fast. That's Deion Sanders fast. Number 29 pick, the Dallas Cowboys via a trade from Detroit. Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle, 6'7", 322 pounds, out of Oklahoma. Is similar to Mims in terms of limited experience, 15 college starts, but he will be fine. They'll put some more weight on him in the NFL. Number 30 pick, Baltimore Ravens, Nate Wiggins, cornerback, 6'1", 175 pounds, out of Clemson. The scouting report, he's long, very fast, but a little bit thin. Got to get in the weight room if that makes sense to you. Number 31 pick, the San Francisco 49ers, bang, bang, 9 again. Ricky Parcell, wide receiver, 6'1", 190 pounds, out of Florida. Scouting report, great hands and a good burst and toughness, but he sometimes can get out muscled and physical by cornerbacks. He had to hit the weight room if that makes sense to him. And the final pick, the 32nd pick, out of the Carolina Panthers via a trade with Buffalo through Kansas City, Xavier Legette, wide receiver, 6'1", 220 pounds, out of South Carolina. The scouting report, he's big, he's fast, he's a physical receiver, though he did not break out until his fifth season in college. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I wish everybody the best. That's Big C's thoughts on the NFL draft. And reparations now, reparations forever. I hope they'll find someone to champion that and not just me. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. He said, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to chap at reparations now, reparations forever. And then I felt like a butterfly that sting like a bee. There was none greater than Muhammad Ali. That's my story, I'm sticking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that crap. If somebody loves you, they don't slap you. I only slapped you because you made me mad. If somebody slaps you, I only slapped you because you made me upset. If somebody kicks you, I only kicked you because you made me upset. Don't put up with that crap. Call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that crap. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I mean it is so important. No drinking and driving, no domestic abuse, and no racism. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my great-grandparents on my mother's side, my great-grandmother, my great-grandfather, my grandmother, my grandfather, my beautiful mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Best person I ever met in my life. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, my grandmother, Alberta Curry, she said, when I was 8 years old, walking through her house in Oakland, she said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. Always, always remember that. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying development mind to its highest extent. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. A voracious reader, always saying go forward. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors, and 3.5 years from a major university. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. That no weapon formed against you will prosper. You said at the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back at Salem Media, and now I'm championing reparations now. Reparations forever and sports. Daisy, I love you with all I got. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. And then I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm, you give me anything you want. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You helped me save trees. I used to always look up stats, newspapers for Big C Sports Podcast. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, just Google it. And the light bulb went off. Now I'm on 29 podcast platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before we went on the air. And shortly after that, you can see Big C Sports Podcast streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. He spoke it into existence before it showed up. And you can be anything, Malcolm. Always trust God. Always, always trust God. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And then I want to just say, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always believe in yourself. Always, always believe in yourself. You can be anything you want to be. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, like my great-granddaddy coming on that bar and said, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. As we nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no three-way teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. Some people say I don't talk fast enough. I'm trying to get it all in an hour. But sometimes I don't talk fast enough. But what I will say is, let's honor President Abraham Lincoln when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. Come on, say it like you just got drafted by the NFL. Chant reparations now, chant reparations forever. Say it like your heart, mind, body, and soul believes in it. Come on, God. Reparations now, reparations forever. That's my story. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.